Hello, my name is April and welcome to Thrifted Transformations. In the last episode, I made an Aladdin and Princess Jasmine costume, and for this episode, my friend Mina and I will be making Batman and Robin costumes. So, let's get started. I will be making Robin's costume out of this red jersey I found in the men's section, these velvet green sweats, and this yellow flared skirt. Mina will be making Batman's costume out of this gray t-shirt, this black velvet dress, and this high-waisted jumper. The first thing we're going to do is cut out a tank top, and don't forget to add seam allowance. After that, I take one side of the tank top and cut a lower neckline for the front. Next, we can go ahead and sew down the sides and shoulder seams. Moving on to the pants, first Mina is going to separate the pants from the blouse. Next, we cut the pants into shorts. Then we're going to draw an underwear line. After cutting it, it's not going to hug tightly around the bottom anymore, so we'll have to sew elastic around the bottom, pulling more as you sew around the backside. For Robin's high-waisted bottoms, I first cut the inner leg seam open. Then I fold one of the legs in half and trace out the front side of my underwear. I also extend the top 6 inches to make it high-waisted on me. After tracing the front side, I fold the back side of the underwear in half and trace it as well. Now I can face them right sides together and sew down the sides and the crotch seam. For this whole tutorial, I am sewing with a zigzag stitch because I'm working with stretch fabric. Next, I'm going to fold over the top, making sure I have enough room for the elastic to slide in. Then I'm going to sew around the top, but I make sure to leave an opening so I can insert the elastic. After cutting the elastic to fit my waist, I use a safety pin to help me slide it into the waistband. Once the elastic has reached the other side, I can now sew the two ends together and close up the opening. The black velvet dress will be perfect for Batman's cape, and since it already has a button loop around the neck, it's going to make our job a lot easier. First, we are going to cut the back seam open, and now we just have to get rid of the sleeves. After cutting the sleeves off, we turned the dress inside out and sewed a line from the neck, blending into the side seam. To complete the cape, we cut out a jagged shape along the bottom. For Robin's cape, I cut down one side as well, and then I have to create my own collar to attach the cape to. To make the collar, I take the measurements around my neck and then draw out a curved shape. I cut two collars out and a strip of fabric to sew as the necktie. Place the collar's right sides together and sew along the shorter curve. Then I go ahead and create the necktie and sandwich it in the collar, placing it right next to the seam I just sewed. Now I can sew down the sides of the collar. Once the collar is made, I put it on and mark where I want the cape to fall. All I have to do now is gather the skirt to fit the collar. I gathered the skirt using a basting stitch, and now I am pinning it right sides together to one collar only. Now I can sew the gathered skirt to one side of the collar. Then I can flip the other side of the collar over, sandwiching the gathered skirt in the middle so the raw edges are hidden. Next, we're taking the sleeves from earlier and turning them into gloves. If there's one mistake I made, it was making the gloves too small at the wrist. So make sure to give yourself some extra room to slide your hand in. I'll also be making myself a pair of gloves using what's left over of the pants. To make the mask, we use a pair of sunglasses to trace out the nose shape, and from there we just designed how we wanted our mask to look like. I highly recommend cutting out a few designs out on paper first to make sure it fits you. We are using black felt for our mask, and behind it we added some stiff interfacing to help keep its shape. Since the interfacing is white, we need to trim it around the edges so it does not show. Then we can glue the two pieces together. I repeat the same thing with my mask. For the Batman symbol, we just printed it out online and resized it to what we wanted. First, we cut out the oval shape and trace it onto yellow felt. While Mina is doing that, I am cutting out the bat. Once the bat is cut out, fold it in half and cut it out on fold. For Batman's belt, all we did was measure out Mina's waist and added a 1-inch seam allowance on both ends. Then we placed the belt over the black felt and drew out an oval shape that is a little bigger than the belt. Then we used the black oval to trace out a yellow oval that will be slightly smaller. And now we just glue everything together. For Robin's top, I cut out yellow strips and glued them down the middle. And I cut out a black circle and yellow R and glued it at the side of the tank top. When gluing, make sure to put a piece of paper inside so you don't glue your tank top together. To finish the mask, I cut tiny holes at the side and squeezed a sequin elastic band through it. Now we are ready for the final transformation. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Thrifted Transformations, and if you want to see more Halloween tutorials, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Also, if you think my friend Mina did a great job, show her some love by following her on Instagram.
And you can follow my Instagram at minanahime. And if you'd like to see more of April's Thrifted Transformation videos, like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys next time.
Bye!